Well, hi, folks. Hope you're having a great day. So glad you're here. I'm telling you, one of the greatest things about RVing and the RV lifestyle, at least it is for me, is the quality of human beings that you can meet. And today I'm going to introduce you to a couple of them, a couple of regulars around this virtual campfire that I bumped into recently. We got a chance to visit. They are such nice people. Now, Steve and his wife Lisa, they are seasoned RVers, very experienced RVers. They're from South Carolina. And they don't just listen to this virtual campfire talk. They don't just listen, they act on it. And that's what you're going to be hearing about. Now, these two did their homework. They did. Instead of just going and buying an RV, and by the way, the brand they wanted was a Brinkley, instead of buying one from a nearby dealer there in South Carolina, they drove 11 hours. One way. 11 hours to Ponchatoula, Louisiana. Why? Because they weren't just shopping for a Brinkley. They were shopping for trust, for a dealership that will treat them right, offer them a fair deal, and back up their word with action. Today's video is not specifically about bragging about Barryland. It's really not. It's about sharing the kind of story that reminds us, all of us, why doing your homework matters. So up now, let's hear why Steve and Lisa chose to make that long journey to say goodbye to their Airstream and hello to a brand new Brinkley. So before we talk about what you guys have now, let's go back. Tell me about your previous travel trailer. How long did you have it? What was it? And how'd you like it?
Our previous one, our original one was a 43 foot.
Yeah.
Then we got another 43 foot.
Well, actually, we started out with a 42-foot Winnebago tour. Okay. And then we went up to a Integra Anthem, big 45, down to a Wayfarer.
Which is a class C,
Class C, yeah.
as you know.
And now we're in, and then we decided a year or two went by and we said, after hearing about all the problems with RVs these days, we wanted to think about quality. And so that's why we chose the Airstream. And it is a very high quality unit.
So it was an improvement quality wise from the other units that you guys had.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Not from the Anthem. The Anthem was really good. It was definitely an improvement over the Wayfarer, the Tiffin Wayfarer for sure.
But you fell out of love with the Airstream, or what? Tell me, Lisa. Tell me what happened. I mean, nothing happened, but I mean, how did you transition from getting out of that, high class, beautiful Airstream?
We liked Airstream fine. It was just a little too crowded, and we're this year we're doing a trip all the way to Victoria from Charleston, South Carolina, and so we thought. But the main thing was we saw this new Brinkley, the trailerable Brinkley. And we're not into fifth wheels. We wanted a trailerable. But the Airstreams are great quality, good feel when you get in them. Everything ran well on it. Everything about it was great, except for the shower. It's just not comfortable. It didn't have any pressure. And, and we'd, after out kicking around all day, we really like to have a good hot shower.
And who can blame you? So
we have a 100-pound dog. So with the three of us in there, we had a 30-foot Classic, but still we didn't feel like there was enough room for everybody and for the dog to lay down and us to have space and then the shower. That was the other issue. So we started looking around.
What, obviously, you were concerned with quality. Tell me about the homework you did in terms of the brand that you guys purchased and, walk me through that real quickly.
Well, of course, we've watched your show for years and we've dealt with a lot of different RV dealerships. And actually the last 2 or 3 have been pretty good. And we were very concerned about the dealership, who we bought it from, how they were going to treat us, were they going to be honest? And so that's sort of when we started following your lead on some of the dealerships you work with. And that's how we got down to Barryland.
But what about, but before the dealership, what was it about Brinkley that you guys liked? I mean, obviously, I mean, it's very well made product, but what was it
Well, I stepped into the Brinkley, and it's just totally different than anything else that we saw. It was so clean, so well done. The way they've done the interior caulking, it really makes it impossible for the wall material to come off. It's very well built on the interior and very clean on the outside too. Very well done. And it has the same hitch as the Airstream does. It's a high-end hitch on it, and this one had the new anti-lock, anti-sway system on it, and we liked that idea. The Airstream did not have that, and we felt like the quality was pretty close to the Airstream, and we are all about quality, and we like to buy newer units so we don't have problems when we roll.
But Lisa, what was it about the floor plan? Did you like the layout? Describe that for me when you walked into the Brinkley.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I love the island. Of course, we have the 297 Model Z Air. And I love it's kind of a farmhouse, modern farmhouse kind of a look, which I like. And I like the color scheme, taupes and dark browns. And I liked having back to slides again, even though we weren't too crazy about that. We like having the extra room that affords us. So I love the kitchen, the hidden, the little touches that they put into like the hidden wastebasket has a separate drawer, and there's a separate drawer for silverware over on this little table area, and has a little spot for wine bottles. And I just thought our decor would fit perfectly in there.
But the important question is, how does your dog like it?
He loves it.
Loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Okay, y'all are in South Carolina, and we met actually down in Louisiana. I know that there are Brinkley dealers way closer to you than Ponchatoula, Louisiana. What was it that you were looking for in a dealer? And tell me about that whole process that was going through y'all's mind.
Well, we went around and talked to all the dealers around here, and honestly, we just didn't feel comfortable with the dealers around here. I don't know. We just didn't feel comfortable. And then we had known that actually we were looking for this Brinkley 297, and it popped up at the Barryland that they had one. And I thought, well, isn't that the place the Wingman talks about? And Lisa said, yeah, it is. And so we thought, hey, let's make a destination trip out of it, take ours down, trade it in, and and that's how we ended up there.
So you heard me mention Barryland. You found out, heck, they got the same model that we're interested in. You called them. Was there any reluctance, hesitation? I don't know. We're going a long way on just some dude's recommendation on YouTube. What was going through your mind, and what happened? Lisa, when you guys drove into Barryland, what did you think as you're driving in? Was it different from what you expected? How did it look?
It was large. I didn't expect to see that many RVs and that many different kinds of RVs. And they have lots of different buildings for service and sales and outbuildings. And it was really, really nice. Very nicely. The offices were very nice when you first walk in. It was very welcoming. And we talked to them on the phone. The salesman was very helpful, very patient with us. We wanted to do FaceTime videos, and he arranged to do all of that. And we tried to do as much of our due diligence before we hit the road as we could. And he was very, very accommodating. And I wish I could remember his name, but anyway, he was very accommodating. And when we got there, we contacted him. He put us in touch with all the right people there, and they assessed our unit, and everything went as planned.
So Steve, there were no surprises, no hidden, oh, I wish you would have told me before I drove however many 100 miles you drove.
Oh, no, it's great. We like to do destination trips. So this was an opportunity to go to New Orleans. And because we sort of trust your opinion on things. We've been listening to you for a long time. And if you said Barryland was a good outfit, we took your word for it. But we got down there, and it is a truly a big full service dealership, and they seem to be a very well working team there. From the hitch guys to the guy that walked us to the RV to the sales to the parts to the salesman. We had a couple hiccups with our salesman on what we were trying to do, but everything about Barryland we thought was very well run and very well handled. They still owe us a couple little things. One of our caps had a little dent in it, and they're going to send us one of those. There's a little sticker on the side that needs to be replaced. But anyway, we had no complaints. But they were very well oiled machine.
What did you think about the campground that they have? Because to me, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but to me, that is such a value for a consumer. Well, tell me about that, because you didn't just hitch up, trade your Airstream in, hitch up, and head back to South Carolina.
Right. And we actually decided to make some modifications to the new unit. So we were there for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And waiting for parts to come in, and they were going to do all that for us. But yes, they have free of charge. They have a spot with full hookups, and I think no sewer dump maybe, but it was electricity and water and plenty of space for us to spread out, and they gave us all the time we needed to move all of our stuff from the Airstream over to the new Brinkley, and there was plenty of space for the dog and to be able to walk the dog, and they had a security there, so we felt very comfortable, and it was all behind gates, and it was very, very nice. And yes, that is definitely a value added for them.
Yeah, I would
They
think.
even had a deputy there at nighttime security. Yeah.
But I mean, from simply making sure that everything works before you take off, I think that's a really valuable piece of the purchase experience. You know, to me it is. So now that you've had your Brinkley for a while, are you happy you changed and went from Airstream? It sounds like you are, Lisa.
I am very happy. I could not be happier. And I did love the Airstream, and there are lots of things that I loved about it, but I think this is going to be our final Airstream, or our final RV, and I think that it's everything that we want it to be. So I'm very, very happy.
And you know what's interesting is we looked at Brinkley's up here. We were all over the place up around Charleston, and every time we saw Brinkley, it was clean. The exterior was clean. The interior was clean. They were just spotless, and they send them that way from the plant. And let me tell you, we almost bought several other types of RVs, and you'd be surprised how they show up at the dealerships, and they are a mess. And we've actually gone to dealerships, put money down, gone to a dealership to look at an RV that we put money down on, and they didn't even wash it or clean it. And it had wax all over the outside, and just wax on all the rubber parts. Just a mess.
Problems. And
I know. So how important, again, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, I'm really not. Trust, to me, trust is everything. And finding people that you can trust and you can count on. And in the RV industry, finding people that you can trust is sometimes not very easy. How important has that been for you in your developing a relationship with Barryland?
They're awesome. They're as good of a dealership as you're going to find, I think.
And if you were going to do it again, would you make the trip down to South Louisiana to make the purchase? You're glad you did it?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Frankly, I thought their prices were as good as any down there at Barryland.
Was it price that made the decision for you? Was it the price? Was it the whole package? I don't know. What was it that made you guys go, we're heading south?
Well, their trade was probably better than most of the trades we were offered, but we also took the fact that you recommended them into play too. So Both of those things help.
Yeah, trust is complete is very, very important from the very first phone call that we made to them. And everything went, it made sense. They were very accommodating. They were, they were right on as far as what we were hoping to get financially on the trade and with the new purchase. So it was a combination of the whole package really that made us go with Barryland and make the trip.
Are they nice people?
They
I mean,
are.
Very-
they're
Yeah.
just nice people. You know, it's a family-owned dealership, and there's just to me, there's a vibe when I go down there. It's like, you know what? This little place is pretty cool. You know, when I sit back and reflect on Steve and Lisa's story, driving 11 hours one way to buy an RV, it's really not about the miles they drove so much as it is about what those miles represent. They drove 11 hours each way, not because there weren't other Brinkley dealers that were closer to their home, but because they wanted to choose the right RV dealer, one they could trust, one they felt good about. That's the kind of thing that reminds me why we gather around this virtual campfire. It's not about RV brands or models or sales. Not really. It's about helping each other make the best decisions possible to avoid regrets and find people who will stand behind their promises. Steve and Lisa's story is a perfect example, I believe, of why I'm so proud to work with the RV dealers I do. They are the best of the best. You can connect with them, including Barryland campers, by scanning the QR code on the screen down here, or just go into the description and click on the link right there. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you have a positive story like we just heard, don't keep it a secret. I would love to tell the world about it. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all be safe, have fun, play nice, and don't leave your good manners at home.